case has gotten widespread interest. As we just saw there was a large crowd of people making their voices heard outside court. Some of them had camped out overnight. Mauricio Casillas is live this afternoon, who spoke with some of those demonstrators. All right, Mauricio, what are folks telling you, and what did they make of how the arguments went today?
Well, Amy, overwhelmingly, the protesters who made their way down here to the Supreme Court were in favor of keeping birthright citizenship as is. Many of them argued that getting rid of it would put immigrant families in limbo. There were a handful of counter-protesters who supported President Donald Trump's executive order. And as mentioned, the president was inside for the start of the oral arguments, but left before they finished. Protesters outside the High Court calling on justices to protect birthright citizenship. President Trump's executive order would restrict citizenship to anyone born in the U.S. who has at least one parent who is a citizen or a permanent resident. Different advocacy groups, including local immigrants' rights organization CASA, sharing stories of how the president's executive order could negatively impact their members.
On the legal side, if the executive order were to go into effect, chaos would ensue. There would be children who are born who are stateless.
Last year, CASA filed a lawsuit along with a group of pregnant women with pending asylum claims challenging the Trump administration's executive order. Their case is not the one being reviewed by the Supreme Court, but they did file an amicus brief in support of the ACLU, which is arguing the case against the Trump administration.
We have members who are pregnant, who recently gave birth, who are hoping to give birth or have kids, building their lives and their families here. So it really throws into uncertainty what has been settled law and accepted as settled law for over a century.
Protesters were not able to get a vantage point of the president's motorcade arriving or leaving, but plenty had something to say about his attendance.
I think the president being there today is a political move, a desperate move. I think he knows that the law is not on his side.
While the overwhelming majority of demonstrators were there protesting the Trump administration's policy, there were a few people, including Frank Lucas, who supported getting rid of birthright citizenship. He says he's a naturalized citizen.
On a personal perspective, there's somewhat of a resentment that I had to wait decades to get my citizenship because I came the legal way. Basically what they're saying is my parents were a bunch of fools, they were idiots, they were stupid because they followed the law, which is why I had to wait decades to get birthright citizenship.
And a lot of these different advocacy groups and nonprofits that were here, they say that they're confident that the Supreme Court justices will rule in their favor, keeping birthright citizenship as is. But again, a ruling won't come down until later in the summer. Reporting live outside the Supreme Court, Mauricio Casillas, News 4.
All right, Mauricio, live for us.